Hello, everyone. I've been watching you guys chatting online from Idaho, Indiana, the Sevierville, and everywhere in between. It's like Al's cleaning his desk, and everyone's just getting ready to tie some missing links. So, welcome to Whip Finish Wednesday this evening. It is wonderful to see everyone. We've got my beautiful bride, Katie, over on the other side of the computer. She will chime in and say hello in a minute.
Hello in
Good
a
day,
minute.
Ken, and everyone saying hello. Um, we've got another fun night planned. As I mentioned a minute ago, we're going to be tying Mike Mercer's missing link. So, Katie, if you'll switch it over to the vise real quick, we'll go ahead and show this bad boy off here. And then we will, yeah, here, there it is. So this is the missing link that we're going to tie. Now, I saw someone on here before we hopped on say they were tying some Adams. And Adams are great flies. We love them. But you ought to try tying this up as well. So you've got something to throw a little variety, we'll say. But this would be good.
A lot of variety.
A lot of variety.
You got all the stages here.
Yes. So we'll switch it back. And so good evening, Michael and Josh and Chris and Barry and Wes. Five Solas. Hey, and Paul Bridgers. That's just on one screen. So
do you know why it's called the missing link?
I do not know why it's called the missing link. I know Kelly Gallup found it.
Let's see if anybody here can guess why missing link might be a good name for this fly.
Do you know?
I have a good guess.
Oh, a good guess.
I mean, I know what in general terms missing link refers to.
Five Solas is from North Idaho. So, well, you all put your
Even
guesses
Panhandle of Florida?
Panhandle of Florida. Joel and Michael Ragsdale's over there in your neck of the woods, I believe.
It's a Floridian Christmas.
It is Christmas, or it's coming up on Christmas. And I think I'm speaking to the choir when it comes to buying fly tying gadgets and tools and stuff. But if you have someone that you want to ask a small gift from, this is something that I can just about guarantee everyone here can use. And the two best things about it: number one, it's free. It's not expensive. And number two, we're going to give someone the opportunity anyway to get 3 of them for free tonight. So what is it? I'll just grab a handful of them here. I know it's silly, but these little bench rings, these loon bench rings, these guys right here, I got a pack of them a couple of years ago, and they filled up with stuff. So I just ordered about 5 more packs. Now I've got these hanging up everywhere with different kinds of dubbing and different materials on them. And I've got a stack over here in the floor and just all over the place. But they're really good for organizing your materials, and it's only $8. So later tonight, we're going to give away a $25 gift certificate to Jay Stockard, and they've got these in stock. So if you would like to order these, you can. If you want to order something else, that's fine too. But for $8, good. It's a great stocking stuffer, great, just something affordable that just about anyone can use. Unlike a lot of the stuff that we use. And Jeff says it's his favorite loom product. I have some bench there full. Yeah. See, Paul, you could always use a few more. Bill Brashear's of Panhandle of Texas. I was about to say Bill's not from the Panhandle of Texas. Loom bowling pin magnets. I don't know if they've got these in stock, the Vice Ponds, Nan, but I imagine they do.
But I mean, if they don't, you could just find some. Don't we have some magnets that kind of look like that, anyways?
Yeah, on that weird thing that keeps our food cold. What is it?
On the that rectangle, that rectangular prism that opens and you put cold stuff in it.
Yep.
That thing. Yeah, they actually kind of look like it, and I'm pretty sure we got them off Amazon.
Yeah. But anyway, so we're going to do our number drawing, and just so you can see, we switch over to the vice view to the side. I've got one number in here. See that? One number is already written in here, and we're not going to start the number drawings yet. We will start when Ken B has to leave.
Ken he just gave us his number.
You tell us when you're leaving, and
we
hopefully-
messed up our Australian friends when we did our daylight savings time.
Yeah, he has to leave earlier now. So, but speaking of which, let's go ahead. Hold on with your numbers. Don't worry about it yet. But you can save your numbers. We'll start doing it when Ken has to leave. Unfortunately,
he's got to go.
It's first thing in the morning for Ken, and now he's an hour later for work, and he can't stay all day. So
I think he's the same time. We're the ones that are different.
Yeah, true. So quick story about this fly. This one right here, and we'll switch back over to the vise. I'm going to throw this in here. You're going to be like, what the heck are you doing? So this fly right here that's in the vise, this past summer I was in Montana, and I was fishing with our good friend, Craig Matthews. And I caught a brown trout, and I found a fly in its mouth. And I was like, what the heck? And it was in much worse shape than this. But I pulled it out, and I went over to Craig. I said, Craig, look what I found. I mean, it was ratted up. Like now it's, especially since this is what we're tying, it's pretty easy to tell what it is. I was like, what the heck? Is this like an elk hair caddis or something? He goes, oh, that's a missing link. So I put it in my box, and I found it the other day. And I was like, huh, I think I need to tie some of these. This is not one we typically tie, but this was looks like either a 14 or 16. You can see the remnants of what was the wing. One thing that's interesting about this one is you can see how relatively small in diameter the hackle is. Because normally when you watch Mike tie it, he's most people in Mike itself are using more oversized hackle or hackle to fit the hook. That hackle's pretty small, but that right there is the fly that got a Yellowstone trout to bite it. And who knows how long it was in its mouth. You can see how the tinsel's kind of coming loose, and the wings even a little bit loose itself. Whole thing's probably about ready to fall apart, but cool for this purposes anyway. These purposes. Rife cutter. Yeah, it looks like a kind of an interesting little elk hair cast, but I'm not going to argue with Craig Matthews. I think he knows exactly what he's talking about. That looks like a missing link to me. So,
do we have either one of the Bills on here tonight? Is Bill Brashears or Bill
Adams?
Yeah, now Bill Brashears is on here.
Yep.
Bills.
The Bills.
The Bills. I mailed out your packages yesterday, so you should be getting them pretty soon. And I put some extra surprises in there for you too. So it's going to be so great when you get it.
I don't know if Mike has a book, Al. That's a good question. Someone on here will know. Craig Matthews has a bunch of books. Absolutely, he does. I've got a few of them. Speaking of Craig Matthews, we'll switch over to the side or to me. So we haven't used it in a while, but I'm sure we will be using it soon. Everyone check your pheasant tail inventory. And if you need pheasant tail, or if you need ruffed grouse, or I believe quail, or Hungarian partridge. So all those things. Craig Matthews just got back from a hunt, and he is selling. Here's one that we bought last year from him. I don't know, it's like $4 or something. It's unless you get a bunch, you can pay more for shipping than you will for anything. And he's just like us. Like when he sent us these, I bought a handful of pheasant tails and everything else that he had. And he had to wait a week before they plowed his road to get to the post office. So, and the money that he sells it for goes to Captains for Clean Waters or some conservation organization. So, all right, Ken, thank you. Katie's got your number.
I got your number, and I got your fly that I'm going to share. So be sure you check back later so you can see how it looks.
Cool. But anyway, so Craig's got some awesome game birds for sale. Ones that he shot, they're really good quality. I mean, you can see this center tail feather here.
Bring it to 2.
You can see how wide this is here, just for one feather. I mean, that's pretty good. Now the clumps, you're not going to get more than 2, maybe 3 perfect center tails. But anyway, The email address is right here, candj@threerivers.net. I had to squeeze .net in there, and Katie will probably put it up here, tag it in the comments. But candj@threerivers.net. Just shoot him an email, tell him you like some feathers, and he'll give you the price on what it's going to be.
C&J at Three Rivers.
I texted it to you just in case. But great opportunity to get some good fresh product. Okay, so let's get to tying this fly. We'll tie a couple of them. We'll tie one, then do pictures, do a giveaway, and then go on to another one. You can make legs of those feathers. You are correct. Anyway, so I'm gonna put a size 16 Ahrex Freshwater 503 in the vise. Now, Mike uses Timco 102Y, I believe, and it's a pretty much standard light wire dry fly hook, and the gap is a little bit wider than normal, which is very similar to this one. This is a dry fly light, it has a wider gap. This one's barbless. Mike's got a barb on it. This one right here, if it didn't have that stinking barb on it, I'd never have it, because that's what I don't know what I caught the fish on. And
it's all chewed up.
But
it looks chewed.
That barb kept it stuck in that fish's face until I got it.
It looks munched on.
Yeah, Steve, he says that this is what he normally fishes unless he's going after a really big fish. Then he'll switch over to the Timco 100 or the 9300, I believe, for a heavier gauge hook. Now this particular hook, the Ahrex Freshwater 503, I think it wasn't when I was with Jeff. It was somewhat recently, in the past month or two. I think I finally had one bend out. Finally. But I'm pretty sure I had it caught on a rock first. And you can bend any hook out on a rock.
Okay.
The rock. All right. So got the size 16 hook in the vise. The thread I want to use is the Semperfli 12-aught classic wax thread in yep, and I've got that one sitting right here as well. I can show you the difference. We switch over to the hook, please. So we're going to use Primrose. Now the one that we posted today, one of them I used yellow, one of them I used tan. I've been trying to play with the colors of going with a PMD or a sulfur color or sulfur variation. Big fish, kingfisher, got that. Something cool. Sorry, I'm just reading all those things. Here's the Timco 100 SPBL that one of y'all are talking about. Who is it? Brian. So here's so size 16 Timco SPBL, exact same hook, barbless. You can see the wire difference. There's not much. It's kind of hard to really gauge because they're different colors, but they're very similar. I do believe the SPBL is a little bit thicker. Gap, it's hard for me to show you and hold it. Very similar. And length, very similar as well. That is obviously a good hook, a great hook, because I've got it sitting right here, ready to go. All right, so let's tie this thing. I'm sorry, I'm yapping too much. So I'm going to start at about the 80% mark, maybe. I'm starting a little bit further up than a lot of people do. So we're going to pop the thread off. Now, Mike always calls for Crystal Flash, which is this, which I've got right here, just regular old Crystal Flash. You can see kind of the thickness of it. That'll work fine. Grab a piece of quick Crystal Flash and tie it in. I like the color of the iridescent yellow Perdigon body. Very similar thickness. It's durable. So that's what we'll use. I feel like it, with the Primrose, it adds a nice sheen to it, adds a nice little shade. But point is, use whatever you've got. If all you have is Crystal Flash, use Crystal Flash. If you've got the Perdigon and you want to use Crystal Flash, that's fine too. Just so Gary doesn't yell at me, I'll trim that off.
What is that box that you're storing your labeled hooks in? Well, since you asked.
Go ahead.
Craftmates?
Yep, Craftmates.
Craftmates. It's called Craftmates box, and it's available on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. So if you'll remind me in just a second, I'll show you what we keep that box in. So I'm gonna bring this down. I'm gonna bring this down to right before the hook goes absolutely vertical. So roughly right about there. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were watching Katie as much as everyone wants. There.
Sorry.
That's okay. So you see how I got it down low like this with touching wraps. You see how flat I've got my thread. Now I'm going to bring it back up with those same touching wraps all the way up to the front. And when it starts, my thread starts cording up like it kind of is here. I'm going to twist it. I had a telephoto in the Kingfisher. Lil, right back at you, Gary. What did Chris say? Sewing box. The hook should be sorted. Yeah, I love it because, I mean, once in a blue moon, you'll have like, leave it open or want to pop open, but they don't get mixed up. They won't come out of the box in the middle of it. Okay, so I just have one layer of thread down, one layer of thread back up. I'm going to make sure my thread is flat, about as flat as it'll go. And I'm going to go down. Mike doesn't build any taper in here. And this little bit here, down about there, and then I'll take a big wrap back, big wrap forward. It's not so much building taper. It's just making sure that I don't have a negative taper. So now I'm done. You can see if there's any taper there, it's so minimal. It's more of a change in color, but I think it'll be okay. So I'm going to put 2 wraps, bring my bobbin cradle over. Let's get my hackle gauge out of the way. So I'm just going to set this right over on my bobbin cradle. If you notice, I did not put a half hitch or anything in it. I'm just going to bring it up. When I bring it this way, it catches on the hook eye, and I can sit and spin all day long, and it's not going to tighten this up. It's not going to come loose. So let's go ahead and do our touching wraps here, or our open spiral wraps. Just like this. I'm using my rotary function because it's just a touch faster. When I get up to the top here, I take my bobbin cradle away. Remember those 2 wraps I put in? I'm going to undo them. 1, 2. And put a couple wraps in just to secure this material. Just like that. Busy tying. I missed the start. Oh, Howie, you haven't missed anything at all. Just me yapping. We haven't.
He has not. Fisher's Flies has not made its debut yet.
That's right. That is absolutely correct.
Nor has Howard the Duck or Howie or anyone else.
That's right. All right, I'm gonna get my thread out of the way here. Just bring it up like that, and I'm going to take Sally Hansen's. And the next one, if you remind me, I'll put some UV on it. But all I'm going to do is just use the brush and go over one side, get on the very bottom, go on the other side. So that's all I've done. We're going to say that's covered enough. I'm going to take my fingers and just wipe off the excess, because talking to people and everything, it is a dry fly. We don't want to put a whole bunch of UV. If we put UV resin on, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to coat it with UV resin, take my fingers, take off the excess, but we've got a very light, scant amount on there. But that does have glue on it now, so we're going to give it a second to dry. While we're waiting on it to dry, we'll prep our hair. So we shall switch over to the side. I've got a few different types of hair. Mike usually uses the Select Cow Elk, and I'm using this Nature Spirit Select Cow Elk here. He usually uses cow elk, and that's the elk that I'm using. I've also, on some of the smaller ones, played with the Compara elk or the premium yearling elk. So yearling elk or the Compara elk works nice as well, but try to stick with the original. I'm going to pull off a pretty small chunk. And that might be a little too much, but it's easier to thin out than add to it. So here's the tips, okay? Well, notice you don't use wax very often. You just rely on the wax of the thread. I don't use wax very often because I don't have to. And I mean that as serious as I possibly can be. So wax helps you dub a tight noodle. Um, if you can dub a tight noodle without wax, you don't need it. So especially on nymphs and different things, wax is going to repel water and make a fly be more buoyant. And but I just don't I don't use wax very often. Yes, whoever's reindeer.
Yes, you can.
I've never used reindeer, so that I don't know, John Boy. But Jeff is.
You should try it. You should try it.
We're going to use caribou soon. So we'll. I'm going to take my fingers. I'm going to bring it up to about the 15%. I've just had the tips right here. Pull that out. So I'm pulling this out. And we'll take it and we'll twist my fingers until it opens everything up real good. Now I can just pull. I can flick. I can use a comb. Pull it all out. And just with one hit of the comb, it's pretty much cleaned out now. So we'll just look at it.
And why do you do that?
See how we're looking. We're cleaning out any hair with lights. We're cleaning out the
guard hairs.
Yeah, Dan, you're absolutely correct. The Charlie Craven explanation deer and elk everything is grand. It is really good. We're cleaning out the guard hairs and we're cleaning out the underfur. So the guard hairs and the shorts really don't do much. The underfur is going to soak up water and cause this fancy old dry fly to sink. So all I'll do is I got a packer here, just packing it so it's pretty well ready. But we should be pretty much dry here. I'm going to go to my K-Pot because that's my favorite dry fly dubbing if I can fix it. And I just need a small little ball. So this little bit should be about all I need. I'm going to take it. I'm going to undo a wrap. I'm just going to dub a short little noodle here. I'd say it's probably an inch and a quarter. Slide it up. And we'll undo this one. And I'm going to
hello, Chris.
Start my dubbing right where I start my thread at the very beginning. So you see there's not much hook shank there left. I'm going to make sure I've got a good shoulder right here on this ball. Bring it down. Right when it's up, hop my thread to the front. I'll put a little bit of a thread base down and stop it right there. Partner deer hair from Charlie is inbound. Is he here? Because I've been talking with Josh. Did he say he's here in North Carolina? Yes, he is here. And Steve, I've been talking with Josh, and we're going to have him have his hair on here in a little while. But he might come drop in and say hello. So when he does, when Josh does hop on and say hello, if he does, make sure to say, what's up? All right, getting ahead of myself here. Next material. You guys are just too much fun. And I think I counted this because I knew Steve would be like, wait a minute. I counted them. I paused it and counted them. So I believe there are 15 fibers here. These are the EP trigger point fibers in Pale Morning Done. So upside down EP trigger point fibers. There it is, Pale Morning Done. When you get them down to just a handful of fibers here, it's really hard to see the color in the first place. But I thought PMDs, hey, good time to use it. 31, dude. This is more. This is not 31. This is, I swear, it might be 16. But I know Mike says 12, 10 to 12. And I looked at the Zelon. This is just a touch thinner than Zelon. So that's why I went with 15. Dude. There's our other Floridian. All right. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to lash this to my side of the hook like this. Make sure we're good. So we're just see how it kind of got crossed. I'm going to take the long end and bring it back just like that. So it's sticking out the one side. Take this end, same thing, Now we kind of have it looking like that. Now, if you'll notice right here, I'm building a little shelf. Okay, so I'm going to cord up my thread, bring it back. I'm going to really jam my wing material up against here. Now, I did count these, but make sure that your wings aren't super, super thick. These should be just wisps. But I'm going to cord my thread up, just like it's cording up here. Paul, I'm looking forward to trying it. It is phenomenal. It looks phenomenal anyway. Oh, you're counting elk here. So then I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to make sure I hold my pieces out. So I'm going to get too disheveled. I'm going to jam that up right up against that ball. Just like that. And see, each one really sticks those out, but it's still kind of sweeping back a little bit. That's all this ball is really for, is to spread out our wings. So don't make that ball any bigger than that. I mean, you need to have a little bit of taper, a little bit of room for your thorax there, which is the ball, but it doesn't need to be huge. Mike usually uses crystal flash, and that's fine too. I'm just partial to this stuff. All right, so now I'm going to take the material I just did. The Z-line I just tied, or the trigger point fibers I just tied on. I'm going to clip them right here to my vise. So I don't know if we've got a shot of how that is. Probably a picture of me. Okay, so you see how I've got right here. Oh, picture of me. Oh, you're on. Hey, there you are. You were right, honey. There we go. So you can see right here, I'm turning this to the side. You've got my had the hackle pliers here, and then hair clip here, one of Katie's hair clips. Actually, I think it's one of the girls' hair clips here. So it just kind of keeps it out of the way, keeps the keeps that from getting messed up. Because that's my biggest thing, is when I'm wrapping hackle and everything, that material gets in the way. Brian, I'm not going to disagree with you at all, but I've never used it, and I'm looking forward to giving her a shot. I'll tell you this: if someone just point blank says, "Hey, I'm going to fly shop. What's good hair to get?" I won't say Nature Spirit, because most fly shops have Nature Spirit. The only fly shops they're going to have Josh Varner's hair is Charlie Craven's and Kelly Gallup's, and both of them kind of know what they're talking about. All right, so I've got my little clump of hair. You'll see this is a pretty small clump. I've seen them tied much sparser. I'm gonna have it go roughly to the back to my hook bend, maybe a touch shorter. I'm gonna pinch, make sure my thread's still kind of corded up, and put 1, 2, pull tight. I'll put a third one on there just for the fun of it. I'll take half of this. This is just like I do an elk hair caddis head. Pull tight. I'll pull all of this. And normally I would be done if it was an elk hair caddis. But I'm going to really cram a few wraps in here right behind that. So you see now, look how much hook shake I've got left now. Looking good. So I'm going to take my fingers, just like my two little painters here. Good. Not sure about what, Paul, about the Nature Spirit being the good stuff to get if you're at a fly shop, or Josh's stuff being better, or what. So now I'm just going to hold the wing and the butts up. I'm going to, and I'm biased because I've used Nature Spirit a bunch. I've never used Josh's stuff. I'm looking forward to trying it. Put a couple wraps in, just like this. Now that's not going to get it the final shape, but that'll help kind of start my what I'm going to parachute up here. Okay. So that part can be kind of, okay, good. I don't know if you can go wrong with either one, but one thing is for sure, if you can go to a shop and actually pick out your stuff, pretty much across the board, you'll be better than just ordering it. Unfortunately, we're not all that lucky to be able to do that. All right, so now we'll grab some hackle. I've got some really pretty. This is Whiting. So saddle, Whiting Farm saddle, dyed Coachman, or not Coachman, dyed golden straw. So to prep this, I'm going to pull a bit, just strip the stem just a little bit like that. And then I'm gonna wrap it upside down. So the far side, I'm gonna take a few of the fibers off the rachis, just like that. So it'll, when I start wrapping, it'll wrap a little bit cleaner. Although this is gonna be somewhat of a mess anyway. All right, so let's switch over back to the hook, and I'm gonna hold this at an angle. Gonna do it long. I'm gonna do a loose wrap just to get that first wrap behind the wing here. Okay. Make sure that my feather is still twisted, going the right way that I wanted, just like that. Now we'll pull that to length like that. So I just have one wrap right now holding that feather in. I'm gonna lock it in with these right here. Now you'll see a lot of people that will tie their feather in first before they tie their elk hair in, and that's fine. But when I'm doing the elk hair and I'm pulling it up and I'm working with it, I've got a bad habit of grabbing that feather. I've got a bad habit of getting this stuff caught up. So I like to keep everything separate, and it's not a really big deal for me to do what I just did. I mean, just working around, put these extra. I caught the edge of that hook eye there and got a little bit fray. I don't want my final product. Okay.
Did you size the hackle? Someone was asking about what size that was.
I didn't just now. This is just one I used on another one a couple days ago, but I'll size it right now just for you guys. This looks like it is a very small size 14. So if you can see, it barely goes into the 14. Kind of hard for me to get it on the thing with you. There you go. So it barely goes into the 14. So a really small 14 or a really big 16. This is on a size 16 hook. Yeah. All right, so now we're going to do this. I'm going to wrap the hackle. Now, I like putting no less than 3, no more than 4. So, Steve, feel free to tell me I did 5. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 1 like so. And make sure you're pulling up. Let's switch over to the thing. So, I'm just taking my hackle, bring it down and around. And I've got my first wrap in. I'm going to pull tight. See how that just spun those fibers? So if I get it loose, it looks like this. So when I pull it tight, it spins those fibers around. Now let's do another one. And we're going to try to go up the elk hair a little bit. So there's 2. Okay. Pull it tight. Now we'll go 3. And now I'm going to start working my way down. So I've got 3. And, yeah. 3, and I'll look at it and see, is that kind of how I want to look? I think that's going to be enough for me. So we'll work it down just a little bit more. So that's going to be 3 total wraps. Okay. Now to finish the fly, I'm going to try this so you can see it. I'm going to take my my thread. I'm going to come up over that hook eye and go down and keep it underneath all this hackle here. Over the hook eye, underneath all the hackle except for that stem. You gotta go over your hook, but down low. So that's 2 or 3. I can't remember, 2 or 3 wraps. Try to put 3 wraps in, going underneath everything. If you go under everything, that'll help push whatever flat fibers are trapped going down. They'll push them going up. And then I can take my fingers again, expose that hook eye, and hop it to the front. And now we're locked in. Okay. Now don't worry about like, oh shoot, I just messed up my hackle. It's okay. Similar to coastal East Coast climate, which harvested warmer climates, you'll thinner hair. 100% right. The question is, when he lived in Montana, and when he moves back to Montana, will he be sourcing his hair from the same place, or will it be Montana hair? All right, so we've got our 5-turn whip finish. Pull tight. Feel free to do a 3-turn, do a 4-turn, do whatever you want. So now let's get this straightened back out. All right, so now we're looking kind of messy, right? Take everything, kind of fan everything back out. Remember, I did 3 wraps of hackle, so this is not over hackled or anything. We'll undo this.
And someone mentioned that some people invert the hook in the jaws before they wrap it, and
Yep.
that's true. Yeah.
For normal parachutes, that's what I'll do. For this one, because I'm finishing on the hook eye, I'm doing it like that. But you see how my hackle's thin. I'm just making sure I don't have any major hackles going straight up and down because I'm going to cut right here. So I just take, try to separate these, try to spin them just a little bit. And one of the, see how you can see it the best. So when I take my scissors, I don't want to go in with them wide open. I want to go in there pretty tight, pretty close, push down and cut it just like that. So you see I've got this. Now this little bit right here is going to work almost like a little life jacket, like a miniature life jacket. That's what the butts are going to do, because you can see from underside, you don't see them. That's going to help a little bit of flotation. You have one odd fiber in there that I can pull out like that. So that's probably how I would leave the post. But if you want to push it down, you could. If you want to pull it up more, you could. Do however you would like. So let's go ahead and get this cut out, this stem cut out of here. I'm just going to stick my scissors right in there, cut it off. Let's see how we're looking. Good so far. Now let's cut our our little wings here. So depending on the fiber you use and depending on the crinkliness, you don't want to pull it super tight, because when you pull it super tight, it'll shorten up. So we're going to leave it somewhat loose, put our scissors right up against the hook end, maybe angle them out a little bit so they'll be a little bit longer, and cut them off. And you see how that looks like a little V. I'm just kind of pull them around, spread them out. Now they're good. So just like that, kind of a sparsely done one. We can put a little shot of head cement right here, just like that. And get some in the eye like I did. Just take your applicator, stick it up through, pull it out, and you're good. So
it's found link.
Found link.
Yeah, it's not the missing link anymore.
Well, that's what Kelly Gallup designed, the found link.
Oh.
That'll be a different fly for a different day.
Oh, okay.
So it's still missing, but I think it's a missing piece to the puzzle. So anyway, so there we go. Super Sample Surfed, I really dig it. That's a great looking. Thank you, Brian. Bleach it with hair bleach. 30 minutes and wash it out. Is that the bleach, the elk hair, Brian? Too nice a fly for the name. Well, this one is going into a stack with all the other ones, and we'll do. But here's what we'll do next, and then we'll do our little drawing, and Katie will show pictures. But to keep it fun, I don't like tying big old flies, and that was a big size 16. So we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do a size 18 next. But John Boy was asking, cool. Thanks, Chris. Okay, so what we're going to do is,
you want to show some pictures?
We're going to show some pictures. While Katie's showing pictures, you guys, if you haven't already given the numbers, have you been writing people's numbers down?
I have everybody's numbers that's have put one up there. So, go ahead. If you didn't put a number and you want to put one, go ahead and put one in while I show these pictures.
So if you want to put a number in, this is going to be for a $25 gift certificate to Jay Stockard. If you haven't played this game before, I've got a number written down right in this. It's on this piece of paper right here. And 1 through 100, whoever gets closest gets the $25 gift card. I think you ought to get some Loon bench rings, but you can get that or get whatever you like. I just want to talk about these because they're awesome. They're only $8. Cool stuff. But let's show some pictures while they're giving some numbers.
Okay, let's show some pictures. Okay, so we have from last week when we did Pat Smidge.
Pat Dorsey's Pat Smidge.
And this is Billy Bug Flies. And Dave Hall. And David Smith.
Oh, David Smith's on here, I believe.
I know he is. And then Josh Riston sent a couple different versions.
Cool.
And then Ken Brooks, who had just head back to work a little bit earlier, but we'll catch him on the
Ken
flip
always
side.
sends a cluster of them, doesn't he?
He does. I mean, I'm serious. When he sits down to tie, he's getting ready to go fish. He's going to have a few to go with him. And then we have Howie. And if you haven't seen the reel on Instagram and you are on Instagram, check out Howard the Duck 23. He's got a cool reel on there right now.
Because he's 23 years old.
Mm-hmm. And so
Maybe
am
he
I.
was born in 2023.
I'm 23 as well. And this is a picture too, as well, of Fisher's Flies. And that's Howie. That's Howard the Duck as well. So very cool. Thanks, guys, for sharing your pics. I always love to see what you all are tying up. So thank you so much. I love them. And now I guess I better make sure that I get all these numbers so that you can draw a number. So.
Yes. Okay, so we got 33 times or 3 times 23 plus something. Okay, so I will announce the winner, then I'll start. And I just realized I have not been live on Instagram till just now. So I apologize to all 4 of you that have been waiting on Instagram. Just kidding. Would it not be better dubbing dispenser? Would not be better dubbing dispenser. I don't know what you're talking about, Michael. So Katie is compiling all the numbers, but the number that I'd written down earlier was number 16. So she will figure out who the winner is. You guys can fight amongst yourself, but
okay, I don't think anybody picked 16 actually. So we're going to have to go to 15 or 17.
Okay.
And just quickly looking here, I don't see a 15 or 17. So not that. So what about 16 or 12? Let's see. Barry Chassis picked 12.
Well, Steve Yates has said 13 twice, but did he have 13 earlier?
Your number was what?
He said 13.
No, what number did you draw?
16.
16. Oh, okay. So there's a 13.
Well, he just put Gary picked 13.
He picked 13. Okay. So
Gary Barnes.
there wasn't a 15.
So Gary Barnes picked 13.
There wasn't a 17.
Unless Jeff Rowley picked 13 too. You all.
We have an 18.
Well, I picked 16 was a number, so
I think 18 might be the closest.
18 is closer than 13. Who picked 18?
18 was picked by Paul Bridgers.
Paul Bridgers. Jesse, what's happening?
Hey,
I think I
Jesse.
saw you picked a number earlier. So Paul Bridgers picked 18?
He did. Did Jesse, is he saying that he picked 16?
No,
Did I miss
think
it or
he said he
something?
just picked it. I think.
Yeah, I'm thinking that 18 is the closest.
So Paul Bridgers is number 18. Is it Paul? Are you still on here? Instagram guys, we're figuring out who won. Okay, so everyone's talking about Josh Varner on YouTube. Getting here late, guys. Still in the shop. So Josh is still in the shop playing with his deer hides.
Unless you guys say otherwise, I'm feeling like it's definitely 18 Paul Bridgers. Is that's the closest to 16?
Okay. So Paul Bridgers, if you're still on, let us know. And if you're not, send us an email with email us your email address, and we'll get you your gift card over to you. Josh, can you come over just click on your phone, come over on YouTube, NC Fly 9. You picked 18. We weren't doing it on Instagram until afterwards. We're going late. NC Fly 5. Who are you? You're not Paul, are you?
Okay, Paul is here. He is. Okay, Paul, you got it.
Paul
Yeah,
won it.
I'm pretty sure you got it.
So Josh, if you're still over there on YouTube or on Instagram, come over on YouTube. We've got about 50 people wanting to say hello to you.
And Paul wins
And
a
good
gift
job,
card,
Paul.
right? What does he win tonight?
He wins a $25 gift card to Jay Stockard.
That's right.
And he just needs to email us. So we've got his email address and we'll send him the code for it. That's all you got to do. It's demuthflyfishing@gmail.com. The NC Fly, I am looking. Hey, Paul, you might be NC Fly over on YouTube. Okay, so we're going to keep going. James Ross, you're killing me. Okay, so we're going to keep going. We've got a size 18 freshwater, Arex freshwater 503 in the vise. And we've got the same 12-aught primrose thread. I want to do the same thing I did a second ago and pull out the material. Although now I can't. I did what I said don't do. And I didn't use my magnet to hold it down. There it is. Okay. So to tie this on, I want this on top of the hook shank. Just leave it a little bit long. Cross it over. Pull it to length. Just like that. I'll see how flat my thread is. Just going to work it back with touching wraps. Like I said, this is size 18. So just a touch smaller. But for me, because this goes all the way down, this is going to be a good size for me to throw. And Jesse is, I don't want to make his head too big and say he's the man in the Smokies, but he knows what he's talking about when he's fishing in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. And I would think that this would be a good one to throw on occasion inside the park as well. Is on our tailwaters. You see how we got the thread going down the hook shank.
Bye, Truman.
See you, Truman. I didn't know you're on here. Gary, you were killing me. I don't even know who's John. John Collins? Me, John? We might have to find a better way to do this as far as the little giveaways. Okay. So got this done. Remember the trick of put a couple wraps, bring your bobbin cradle over, no half hitch or anything. It just spins around. Easy. So grab my material. And this one, even though I should probably do the exact opposite, but just so I can show you, we'll use the UV resin on this one. Although, as you'll know, I'm not I don't use UV resin as much as I used to, but doesn't mean it doesn't work. I just feel like it's adding a touch more mass, but we do have a tendency of overthinking these things, don't we? There's a couple wraps there. Bring this down. Now we're tight. Oh, you switch back to the hook.
I am on the hook. You just happened to look up for the one moment that I was switching over.
Sorry. That 1 second. All right. Bring that down. We'll cut this off. So I'll put this back under my pond so I won't lose it. And, okay, so resin. I'm just going to put, this is the Loon Flow. I'll put a little bit there, use the applicator to kind of get it all around real good. Just like this. I don't think something with bubbles out. There we go. So see, I got a big glob on there. That's fine. I just want to make sure it's getting covered. Take my fingers, wipe off the excess like that. Now we'll bake it. And that'll be good. Nice and freed up, nice and dried up, nice and. There we go. Oh, and another interesting thing about this fly is this is a fly that you guys have requested for about the past 2 months. A couple of you all have been saying, "Will you please tie this one?" So if there's anything you all would like to see, let us know and we'll whip it up. So I'm going to do the same thing, just put a little bit of kapok on there. I'm going to do a little bit of a ball right about here. So I start the dubbing here. Start my ball, bring it back to the front. Well, let me go like this. Here we go. A little thread on my hook shank. Bring it back to there. So I've got my thread roughly right behind my hook eye. She merges or cripples at the start edge, calls fish. It's basically the same fly. Okay, I'm not familiar with that one. I'm not familiar with it, but I know the way this one is tied and knowing a little bit about fly dynamics or whatever you want to call it, this one's going to ride down in the film substantially more than a lot of other flies, just because of this part of it right here. I mean, that part's just going to sink down. And these wings I'm tying in now, the hackle and the elk, which are going to keep it up. So this is going to have a nice profile that the trout are going to be able to see really well down in that hanging down low. I think Mike even calls it almost like a clink hammer, the way it rides. Okay, it's the same as before. We've got a little bit of a ledge there. Make sure my two wings are looking good. I'm going to take my hackle pliers. I'm going to clip them off. And clip it to my, there we go. So I've got my material hanging out of the way. If I candied jalapeno. Oh, you're going to bring that to Atlanta, right, Gary?
Chocolate covered jalapeno.
Chocolate covered bacon jalapeno with sourwood honey. I added the bacon because,
I don't think that's on the low cholesterol diet.
Everything goes okay with bacon, right?
Well, yeah, unless you're on a low cholesterol diet.
Oh, that's right. I'm just on a low everything diet. So all I'm doing is just prepping my hair. And I meant to grab a different type of, let's do that. Let's go with the yearling elk, because that's a little bit, it's easier to find yearling than the compare elk. So I'm just going to get a little bit, going to switch over to the side. Oh, you got it.
I've been enjoying the honey that Jeff got for us.
Girl, you better not be enjoying Jeff's honey too much. You know what I'm saying? All right, so spin it, brush it out. We're good. So I've got the little bundle here. Stack it up. Moonshine seasoned with jalapenos. Have you seen the moonshine with pickles? Pickle moonshine? I'd like to see some of the old Appalachian patterns. Oh, we can do that. I've got a book. And actually, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Big Mess that introduced me to him. A gentleman who's passed. He came back from World War II and got laid off from his job. So he and his wife tied flies for a living. And gosh, I can't think of his name. But you guys remember me doing the Adams variant. Some of you remember me tying the Adams variant. That is, that's what this fly is. That's who did the fly is, whatever that guy's name is. Sorry, I can't think of it. It might be Fred. Yep, Bryson City. That's it. He's from Bryson City. Howie, we're doing Virginia, Atlanta. That's the only two other shows. We've already been to 2 or 3, but I think there's only 2 major shows that we're doing this year. The Atlanta Fly Fishing Show and the Virginia Fly Fishing and Wine Festival. So pull this up. Put one more wrap in, and I'm going to bypass the wrap in the middle. Just pull everything up here. Work the thread back. Kind of stand up those butt ends. Just a pinch. So we got just like that. Okay. No, we're not. Edison's a dang long drive for us. It's longer than the, it's either longer or it is the same as the fly fishing, as the symposium in, wherever it's called, in Parsippany
Everything was a big
or Somerset, where it was this past year. And it's just it's like it takes 10, 11 hours to get there. So we decided not to do that one this year. But Joe's coming to Atlanta, and Jeff's coming to Atlanta, and I think a bunch of y'all are coming to Atlanta. All right, so we got this tied in. I was talking while I was doing that, but any questions on that part? Pretty simple. So being a PMD, the colors that I've used so far, this was that golden straw color. Also posted one earlier that had this, I think this is a tan dun, dark tan dun or medium tan light, who knows, but more of a dunish. But this time we use probably a barred dark ginger to a barred medium ginger. All these came out of my scrap pile. You said it, John, not me. All right, so I'm gonna prep this the same way. So you see I got my cut off side there. So let's just get rid of that, get rid of those two. So I've got that like this. Because I'm wrapping this way, I want this top side here, a little bit bare stem on that side. So pull that off, maybe just a touch more. I'm gonna readjust so I can see. Katie had a phone call from one of her daughters, so she had to step away. So you're stuck with just me. And yep, you hear Gary. See what Edson Lake has show. It's been a minute. Well, how you're coming to Virginia, right? All right, so have this go a little bit long. Okay, so you can see my stem right here. I'm gonna pull this to length, but I want it kind of long. I've got my thread pretty loose. So I just lightly come up like this, work that thread under that and bring it down. Okay, pull this to length. And now when I pull my butt ends here back, now I can just trap everything in with a few wraps. Okay, just like that. Easy, right? Hot tub party. Oh, Jeff, now I've got the joke now about the hot tub party. Now, if your thread wraps don't stand up your wing at all, totally fine, because your hackle will. But you want to make sure that when you pull up everything, that your hackle goes under everything nicely on that first wrap. And see how we're looking? No, you can't. There we go. So here's first wrap done. I'm going to do another wrap, going up just a little bit. And I want you to be able to see the hackle fibers here. When I pull tight on it, see how they spun a little bit? You really want to get that little bit of a spin. And you will, if you do that every now and then, you will break your hackle stem because you'll pull too tight. You just need to feel how much to do. Eddie George, those guys. Walter Babb. Yep. I can't remember what you said about Walter Babb, but Freddie Hall. Yeah, Fred Hall. That is him. That is Mr. Fred Hall. See, he's got a really cool story. All right, so I've got this done. Bring this around, bring the hackle down. I don't know how many wraps that was, but to me, that's looking pretty good. So I've brought my hackle down, and I'm going to bring my thread underneath everything, but over my hackle stem. So underneath that. Now let's get it right. Well, there we go. So over the hook eye, under the hackle, over the hook, under the hackle, over the hook eye, under, just like this. I think that's probably enough turns. Pull everything back, expose just the hook eye, get 2 or 3 wraps just to save your work. And now we're good. Now we can go ahead and start cutting stuff out if you want to. Just like that. Katie's on the phone. She keeps running here to see if she needs to switch the camera angles. I think this is a good camera angle to keep it on. See, Steve, that is really, what's up, Fly Time with Ludwig? Steve, that's amazing that you knew where they used to sell. I would love to have one of Fred's flies. It's funny when we did, I think the first time we did the Adams variant, people were like, man, you can't do that. I'm like, did I make it up? That's what it's called, is the Adams variant. And the pattern's like 50 years old. So I'm just doing someone else's pattern. All right. So we'll go to whip finish here. Pull everything back. Pull that knot tight. And Misha came in to say hello too. Make sure everyone's behaving themselves. Take off our hackle gauge here, or our clippers. Pull these out. Okay, so you see how the wings are set like that. And remember, one of the keys is to keep these wings thin. Katie was talking about the found link earlier and making jokes about it. Kelly's found link. The wings are quite a bit thicker. These, like literally, what's his name? Mike Mercer talks about how, like he said, 12 fibers is all you need. And so this one might be as much as half a dozen fibers too thick. So just a light wisp of the wing. Doesn't need to be longer than your hackle. So speaking of hackle, let's fix it. Just kind of squish it down. You see how I'm not like, don't be afraid to just get in here and jack with your fly. Like, make it do what you want. And this is not anything fancy. I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at your title one of the first thing this morning. And it's talked about right here. It's right, David.
Yeah, and maybe
do I need to, John? Send me a note. If you think he wants some from moi, I would love to. Why not? All right, so you can see it. So this is like one of those things I'm always afraid that when I cut this, see my scissor tips are right there. God, it's really hard to do this and look at the TV at the same time. So my scissor tips are right here. Good grief. As I was saying, get my scissor tips in there and push down. I always wonder like how people don't cut off their hackle when they do that. And the reality is you are cutting. You do cut your hackle off a touch, or you can anyway. And if you do, that's okay. Not a big deal. So this is a size 18. I think my hackle's about right. Maybe a touch big, but touch long. But thickness wise, that looks pretty good. It's going to have a good silhouette on the water. Good color. The wing is more for me to be able to see, but if the trout sees it, it'll be just fine. Someone's talking about bleaching it. If you wanted to, this is bleached elk hair. I was thinking about using, but I didn't weigh. But this is just how, if I'm doing a standard tilt wing, I will trim it beforehand. But doing Mike Mercer's, I did make a slight variation in that when Mike ties it, he'll tie it in, and then he'll actually tie in a big gap right here. So he'll have thread in between the butt ends and the wing itself, and that's where he ties the hackle in. And I don't like that because it creates the almost like an oval to wrap your hackle on, and for me it just doesn't look correct. Thank you, Freddie. I'm sorry I haven't said hello to Freddie, but we love seeing Freddie on here. All righty. Well, maybe if I talk really loud, Katie will come back in here. While we're waiting on her, does anyone have any questions? Congratulations. What's up, Jason, over on Instagram? Does anyone have any questions? Oh, let's zoom in on this here so you can see what we did. Does anyone have any questions tonight? Nice, no name. Always enjoys the show. No name. Bill, congrats. Your stuff is on the way, Bill. We mailed it Monday, I believe.
we did.
Let's hear Katie's story on missing link. Yeah, they want to hear your story on the missing link name. You said you had a good guess on what it was at the very beginning of the show.
Oh, well, I think that the missing link is basically to refer to, I mean, obviously it's a take on the missing link scientific theory, where there was the idea that somewhere in between
Girl, you need the camera on yourself.
somewhere,
You're making up this line.
somewhere in between, I'm not making this up, somewhere in between primates and human beings, there was something that was a mixture, looked like a both. That's a really simple way to say it. And that was called the missing link, but it hadn't really been found yet. But I mean, now I think it's pretty much like understood that things have been found that like show that that happened. But hey, I mean, if you guys don't think that happened, that's cool too. I'm just saying, I think that's where the name of the fly came from. Okay.
All right.
Oh, so the
works.
fly is called the missing link because it has things on it that sort of like combine different things from like the different life cycles all in
Hey,
one.
Now, you said the word life cycle. That sounds like you really know.
So that's why I think that this fly is called the missing link. But really it should be called the found link because it's been found. But you said that there was already another one called that. So
Yeah. And Kelly's came after missing. So after
Yeah.
Mike. So who knows?
Yep.
But all right. Well, I'm glad that I'm looking forward to Steve banging some out. And thanks, Paul, for emailing us. The Lancelot link shows that what Katie was making whatever to a so Katie was referring to. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Katie and I have a really good time hanging out with you guys. If you have any questions or if you got any requests, let us know. We'd love to answer any questions y'all might have. But until next Wednesday night, we will see everyone later. Y'all have a wonderful weekend, and we look forward to seeing your pictures. Tag us in them or email them to us at demuthflyfishing@gmail.com. We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.